Thanks. Do I say
So
welcome back to you, or you say welcome?
usually it back to me because it's my internet that went berserk. It's this is the second time it's happened since we've been doing this. So you know, it's technology. It's what happens. Where were we?
Okay.
You were
So
on some good stuff. I hope you remember what you were talking about.
yeah, man. Someone posted in the chat and
Hmm.
asked whether or not this is what is taught in training.
Yeah,
The resounding answer is yes. We teach the right things. Individuals have the responsibility to apply those things so that I do not get involved in level one policing anymore. That is to say, uh, going out on the street and doing policing activities. But I do have the opportunity to do it sometimes. And when I do, people often scoff at me and think I'm from Mars because I'm doing it the book way.
yeah.
When an officer is faced, and I know you are going to laugh, okay? But there's a protocol for interacting with a suspect, with a person who is suspected of carrying a firearm in a public place. So,
Legally or illegally.
uh, illegally. And
Okay.
the truth is, we do not know whether or not it's legal or illegal. Here is what the procedure is. I'm a police officer and you are a citizen, and I see you with a bulge. I suspect you of carrying a firearm. What do you suspect should be my first words to you?
I would ask if the person has a permit for what's suspected to be concealed.
Okay, so how is it that you haven't been through police training and you know that? That's correct. That's the first thing. Sir, I suspect you of carrying a firearm. If that is so, do you have a permit or certificate to be carrying that firearm? Now, I know how stupid that sounds if I go downtown and say that to somebody. I'm not, I'm not, I'm not arguing that with the levels of threat that on the lives of police officers know that they should do it that way. But that does not detract from the fact that that's the principle. That's that's how it is. Do you know why they try cases with jurors? It is because we take jurors of our own peers. So someone has done something in the community and the police charges that person. We take jurors, persons of your own pair, and repeat the story to them and say to them, if you were in that situation, would you do in a similar manner? And if so, acquit. If not, convict. The same is true with a firearm. Persons believe that because they have a firearm, they're going to take it out and they're going to say, I'm going to shoot you. If you park in my parking spot, I'm going to shoot you. If somebody parks in your parking spot, go park somewhere else, man. You have no right to shoot someone who parks in your parking spot. There are other remedies. That's how it is.
Well, we appreciate you giving us the real talk, the real knowledge on how this really works. So let's talk about how does a farmer go about securing a permit to carry or to have a shotgun on his farm. How do they go about this? What are the criteria? What will give them the opportunity to have a permit?
Okay. So, firstly, there has to be a threat that you can't manage without the use of a firearm. So, if you are exposed to threats that would normally overrun you, you have a right to a farm. And let's take a simple threat such as you are a goat farmer and you live in a community where there are wild dogs that you think will come to take your animals or have in the past done so. That's the first uh, level of threat that you probably can't handle. You can't handle two or three wild dogs. Probably you can't even handle one. So you need a firearm for the protection of your animals against dogs. But then you might want to add, or you might have the need to say, do you know I do a payroll on Fridays, and I normally go to the bank and get some cash and come back and sit under the tree and pay these fellas. I feel vulnerable. I need a firearm. There is a justification for the protection of your life, the protection of your property, and it escalates. Now, bear in mind that those who are granting the license will then analyze those threats and see whether or not you have other options. Probably the threat is confined to a particular property. So the same level of threat that you experience at your farm, that threat might be minimized or diminished once you leave the farm. And so those who are granting a firearm might grant you a restricted license.
Mhm.
That is to say, we are restricting the use of this firearm to your farm because we agree with you that there's a threat at your farm, but the threat does not go with you outside. So we are going to give you a restricted license. Or it might be the case of, and this gets a little technical, but usually you'll get a license for a .38 revolver, a 9mm pistol, or a 12 gauge shotgun. But there are occasions where they have granted license for 40 caliber weapons, but those are restricted for the range. So you are operating a range and you think you might want to offer training in the use of 40 caliber handguns, then you apply for that license for your range. What if the threat at your farm is larger than a dog? I don't know what is it that could come after your animals that's larger than a dog. I don't know. But you feel that a 9mm or a 12 gauge shotgun might not be able to do justice to what the threat is, then you apply for a 40 caliber weapon. I am telling you before you apply that they're going to restrict that to the property. because no one is going to get a general license to carry a weapon around. A
Okay, so
40.
here's a question. If I see you on my farm unauthorized, I feel my life is in danger. Please do not come on my farm. I feel my life is in danger. I will remove the cause of the danger. How do you address this statement or comment, or I don't know if it's a question?
And sir, the state, the mental state that you are in at the time is what is going to justify the use of the force. Now, let's take, uh, permit me to use you an example.
Mm-hmm.
If a man walks onto your farm, he has absolutely nothing in his hand. You can see his hands, but he comes on his farm, on your farm, and he says to you, "Hey, I'm here to take some of your animals." You might not want to shoot him. You might want to grab him and break him in two and throw the pieces outside. For a woman, that's different. She feels her life is in danger. So you would find that a woman might use deadly force against the same threat, but when it's analyzed, the level of threat or the threat level to the woman is different from the man. We believe that a man, you should be able to handle that man, come on. But a woman, probably not. You can use, let me give you an example. This is true. Do you think that it is justifiable for a police officer to kill someone who use the bicycle fork?
Mm-hmm.
So holds a bicycle fork at a police officer and says, "I'm going to shoot you." Do you think it's justifiable for the police officer to kill that man?
Well, it all depends on
Thank,
the
thank you.
circumstances.
Thank you. That's what investigation is about. That's what court is about. That's what happens when we use deadly force. People sit down and examine what you have done. In the instance I'm sharing with you with Special Constable Walker in Port Antonio at the payroll out at Smat Road, uh, Justice Seymour Panton, he was a resident magistrate at the time. Walker was guarding a payroll, and someone walked up to him from behind and said, "Don't move, boy. If you move, you're dead. This is a holdup." Walker froze, and he's looking straight ahead, and he feels the metal bar pressing against his side. And he's dead. He knows that he's dead. His life is in danger. With one movement, he swings for his .38 revolver without looking, shoots underneath his arm in the direction of where he thinks the force is coming from behind. Fires two rounds, man drops. When he looks, it's a piece of pipe iron that's from the bicycle fall. Judge Panton said that's a firearm. In the mind of the police officer, that's a firearm. My life is in danger. When by the time you come with flashlights and illicits, you're going to see that this could not discharge a round. But under the circumstances, like you have rightly said, that's a firearm. As you hold a firearm and you are on your farm, in your business, whatever you do, think carefully about the immediacy of your situation. If you think you can handle it barehandedly, use your firearm.
Well, I'm happy you came tonight, sir, because there's a lot of discussions and a lot of dispute in how firearms should be discharged and people's responsibility and all the below and the above. You know, there's lots of people who discourage farmers slash citizens from having a firearm because they think it's more of a liability than it is that would help protect them. My personal position is every legal citizen, law abiding citizen, should have the right to own a firearm.
And I say amen. I say amen to that. And I want to put farmers at the top of the list.
Yeah.
But I don't want us to be frivolous and take this light-hearted. It's an awesome responsibility.
Yeah.
I just think that every farm, and I'm talking genuinely established farm, people should go there knowing there's a shotgun on this farm. And I say shotgun because I should tell you, you don't miss with that, okay? Yeah, you don't miss with that. Permit me, if you have time, to
Go ahead.
share with my listeners that one of the added features of holding a firearm, if you notice, we say having a firearm license or certificate or permit. As the principal, as the owner of the establishment, you might want to be the holder of the firearm and then allow your employees to use that. The law allows for that.
Yo, me
So
don't
that,
know about the part for my team.
no,
But
no, no, let me explain.
okay.
Let me explain. So you are the owner of a farm that operates, uh, well, I hope 24 hours a day, silent hours included, and
Mm-hmm.
you are the holder of the firearm. Before long, perpetrators will know who has a firearm, and they'll watch your car in and out. If you have trusted employees who are properly trained, and let me tell you something, the holder of the permit is vetted in the same way the holder of the license is vetted. It's almost like owning a vehicle and giving somebody permission to drive. They have to
Yeah.
go through the same driving exam as you do. But
Mm-hmm.
what it does, again, it spreads that element of surprise because they think that uh, Mr. Brown is gone, so the farm is gone. They didn't know that Mrs. Brown can use that shotgun, man. And there's nothing more beautiful than when a woman draws a shotgun and opens up. That could. That's what I think. And I don't know if you missed it when I said that the element of surprise has to be an additional cartridge or round in your firearm so that don't take it out and wield it and say, I'm going to shoot you. No. Here is what we say in training and what applies. A police officer ought not to remove his firearm from the holster unless he intends to use it. And every occasion that he removes that firearm is to write a report. That's how serious we are about it. And I'm not talking the rifle. I'm talking about the sidearm.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you dress up and you put that firearm in the holster, it is to remain there. You ought not to put your hand on it as if you're going to use it. You need to write a report. That's how sacred that thing is. But may God help you. When you draw it, use it and use it effectively. Let me reiterate that I am recommending that based on the levels of threats that's in Jamaica now, particularly against farmers, I sincerely recommend that all farmers should seriously contemplate getting a firearm. It has nothing to do with me approving it. I don't approve it. I recommend.
I appreciate your honesty, sir. And Gary, you've been upfront with us both times you're on the show, and we appreciate it. And I'm sure all the farmers that are here, whether they're farmers or not, this is valuable information for citizens, business owners, and farmers because you're an authority on this stuff, and what you're telling us is the truth. So we appreciate it. And thank you for hanging in there with all the technical difficulties. If you could give me 5 or 10 minutes more of your time so we can take some questions if people
Sure.
have any. I don't know if people have any questions because you cover everything. So let's, folks, if you have any questions for Bishop Dr. Gary Welsh, ACP, man with 100 goat farm, pets,
Sure.
shoot your questions.
Hey, there today. I took a photograph of my favorite little kid. She just
Mhm.
follows me around. So I shared it with a friend, and during the break, he sent to ask me if I'm selling it. I didn't answer, and he gave me a price, and it just sounds so wrong. How do you sell a pet? People like me shouldn't be farmers. You know, you just
Because they use the word pet. Once you
yeah.
use the
I
word
know.
pet,
I know.
it's
Hey,
over,
listen.
man.
Listen, when you have been let down so often by human beings, you turn animals into your friends, man. Those people, those animals are just are adorable,
Yeah, you
and
can fall in love with them real fast.
I know, I
Yeah.
know, I
Okay,
know.
so Mr. Henry has some questions for you. You mentioned the uniform is your first level of force.
Yes.
Go ahead, Henry. Continue. Do you have another? Is that a question
Okay.
or?
So, so let me explain. People know that before. I am just repeating what everybody knows. That's why when Henry, it's Mr., right? When Henry was small, Henry was a troublemaker, and his mother said, I'm going to call the police. Or when Henry and his mother's walking on the road and he's crying and making noise, she said, Officer, come here, lock up this little boy. And he stops.
So
Because the authority is that's why they put police to stand at stoplights. Um, you see a police officer on the road, immediately you slow down because
So
you
his
see the
question, his actual question is, what if you put up signs as the first level of security on your property?
absolutely, absolutely correct. That is doing the same thing that a uniformed officer
I
would be doing.
guess
This
that's
is on
very
your
true.
private.
Yeah.
He is absolutely correct. Now, some signs have no legality. And I'm not going to get into that. You can put up signs from now till infinitum, they're not worth it. But I'm suggesting you put up sign. When you put up a sign that says no entry, this is a private property, no entry. But the truth is, somebody enters. But I suggest and I strongly recommend that you put up those signs. It's the same thing with me showing you my ID and I say, police, stop. That's my first force.
How many years you been on the job, boss?
Too long, 40 years, and I'm retiring in June.
This year, June.
Yes, sir.
So what happens after that?
Uh, a younger person takes over and carry on. I provide mentorship uh, and support.
But you're gonna introduce me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're like my lifeline on
We
that
we
side of the world.
we'll come on the program together. We'll do an introduction, and
Appreciate that.
yeah, man, we'll make things happen. It's
Appreciate that, because you've been a real friend to our community. And I know when I advise people on what they should do and what they shouldn't do, I use your name directly. I'm saying if you don't believe me, you can reach out to Dr. Welsh.
friend, there are some things that I would want to share, but society is skewed in such a way that they only want things that will support their ego and their way of life. But it's not so. Let me tell you, friend, you can't leave a piece of board with a as a 10-inch nail, 10 penny nail
Hmm.
exposed at your farm so that when that wretch comes to steal your goat, it bores him. If he comes there, cuts your wire, comes on your farm, steps on that nail that you deliberately left there for him to step on, you open yourself for civil action. And you say, how could that be? That's how it is. He has no right there, but you have no right to put a nail. And that's why you can't take off the manhole cover so that he stumbles in that in the dark. If you do that, you're opening yourself for civil action. But there are some things that you can lawfully do using technology, using some other devices. Let's take electric fence. People say electric fence is illegal. Of course, it is illegal. If you have an electric fence that is the fence between yourself and the public, it is illegal because I have a right to miss my step and reach for your fence to
As
regain my
support. Yeah.
correct. But if you have an outer fence and then put an electric fence on the inside, providing it's a commercial property, you can't put it on a private property. That's the law. But when you're off this program and you and I meet to talk, I can tell you some other things that farmers can do and still remain on this side of the law.
The law.
Be creative in protecting your space.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. And won't lose up any more of your time for the night. Uh, I want to thank you for doing this, and I want to thank all the participants, regardless of the technical difficulties we had. You guys hang in there. I would appreciate it if you guys share with all your friends. This information is so valuable, especially if you're serious about protecting your property, your animals, and your family. This is valuable information. I don't know any other sector that brings on somebody who tells you straight how to go about it. Those information usually keep be kept for the elites or the people who know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. But
What
we have it right here.
part of what I suspect, is the question is how many years have you been on the job? Because some of the things I share sounds kind of like, where did he get that from? like like I said to somebody recently that as a police officer, I have a right to give you a lawful instruction to help me to do my job. And if you refuse, it's an offense. They say, where did you get that from? Can you imagine uh, if I get sent out to arrest Henry, my friend Henry?
Hmm.
If I see Henry, and you know what Henry looks like, right? Now, if I see Henry, I'm not locking up Henry. Henry looks like he could break me in two. So I'm going to say to you, hi, come here, sir. Would you help me to hold this man? and, and I'm saying, hey, I am effecting an arrest on this man. And as a citizen, I'm calling upon you to assist me in the lawful execution of my duty. Now, he's kicking and screaming and biting. You hold him and I'll handcuff him. Hey, you better try and do that. You hear, or else I'm going to turn on you for failing to assist an officer in the lawful execution of his duty.
Is that a law? Or you guys just make that up? You can't
All right?
force somebody to help you.
Yeah, all right. Sit down there and don't help the officer and see what comes to
The
you.
officer gonna turn on me. This is lawfully. You can't force a man to get involved
So,
in
hey,
your law enforcement.
what the officers need to do when all you citizens stand up laughing at people beating up
No, I
officers
don't believe in that at all. I believe in the
is just
system,
say
the
to you,
officer.
"Hi,
But
you."
if this man big and strong and all them something that me a lick of you, I say
That's why
no,
I'm
me
calling.
can't help you. Me can't hold that man.
That's why I'm calling upon you to help me, man.
You know what? I appreciate your sense of humor. Yeah, I
Uh,
appreciate it. I want to thank you very much. And I think everybody on here can say, Dr. The Bishop, what is it? Bishop Dr. Gary Welsh is a member of our community. You are a
and
friend of our
Mis-
community.
Mr. Henry's trying to make me into a farmer. I'm trying. He has patience, man.
I'm telling you that I'm gonna make an appointment with you to come see all these pets that you
Yes,
have.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay? Because
Thank
there
you, man.
may be a couple pets over there that I like.
I know. I know. I know. I know.
But
Thank
thank
you.
you again and say hi to the family.
I will indeed,
And
sir.
your son reached out to us several times. We talked to him a few times.
Yes.
Tell him we still have that dog. He can come take her.
Wow.
Yeah, we have the Belgian Malinois that I don't have no use for.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Like he's not integrated into our system at all. He's not cooperating. She's not cooperating. She's not has no. I don't have the time to retrain her. So she needs to go.
I would tell him no, but it's too late for him. Oh, he's an inspector. He can travel to St. Mary anytime he
Yeah,
wants. Okay. So
yeah.
let me tell you this. And
Mm-hmm.
this is the last thing. Did you know that police officers are exempt under the Disaster Risk Management Act, right?
Yeah.
So Inspector Welsh is on his way to St. Mary tonight to pick up a Belgian Mallet or whatever, and he gets stopped by the police.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the police? They have a right to prosecute him.
Well, because he's not under duty, right? He's not on duty, so he should be go home.
That's
Stand in
right.
the yard.
He's not on duty. He's a normal citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and these are the kind of thinking that I want people to bring them, the level of maturity to what we're saying. The same thing with a firearm. You have a firearm, but there are some things I want you to think through. I wish I were in a position to write a recommendation for every farmer. I can't because there are certain elements that must be present.
Mm-hmm.
Every farmer to get a firearm. All the best to you.
Okay, boss. Thank you, and I
I
appreciate you.
look forward to joining you at another time soon.
All right, for sure. And we will talk soon. And thanks everybody for being a part of this. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you next week. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.